So, welcome everyone to our Healthy Home Workshop. I'm really excited about this topic because it's something I didn't know about for a really long time. And then once I heard this information, it just changed my life. And I feel it's really important information that people need to know and can really benefit from hearing the stuff we're going to talk about tonight because this affects our health, the health, like our own health, our families, our friends, our loved ones. And so as we get started here tonight, just a moment here. Here we go. This presentation is for informational purposes only. We are here to educate and empower. Tonight, we're going to talk about the link between toxins in our everyday products and how they may be affecting our health.
Yeah, so my name is Jennifer. I want to say thank you so much for joining us this evening or whenever you happen to be watching. I know that your time is valuable and we really appreciate you giving just a little bit of your time today. Today you are going to hear some stories about the things that we're learning and why we feel that this is an important topic. We're going to discuss chemicals, toxic chemicals. What are they? Where are they? How do they affect us? And what can we do about them? So please know that this is not a fear-based presentation. We are all on a journey of learning and we want to do better because we know better. We can't go back and change the past, but we can make changes that will affect our future. You have the power to change the future. If that's not empowering, I don't know what is. We feel that this is an issue that needs to be talked about, that more people need to hear. So as we're going through this session, if names of family members or friends come to mind, just take a minute, jot them down, and reach out to them and share this video with them or what you've learned tonight. So I'm going to just take a minute to tell you a little bit about myself and how I got started in this toxin-free journey. My husband Jason and I have 4 kids, and you will see them there in the photo on the left. Those kids are the most important thing in the world to me, and I want them to have the best future possible. I feel like one of the ways that I can do that is by making our home environment as safe as I can, and also by teaching them how to best take care of their own health. I have always been a very health conscious person. I will mention that Rebecca and I are sisters, so we grew up in a very similar environment. When I moved out on my own and started taking care of my own home, I tended to use natural cleaning methods. I don't even really remember if our mom did this or why I did that, but it was much cheaper than buying traditional cleaning products, and I am a very frugal person. But unbeknownst to me, I was also using a lot of other personal care products, also because they are cheap, that were harmful to me. And as I began to learn about the ingredients in those products, I became really frustrated and honestly overwhelmed. I distinctly remember a day I was standing in a store aisle looking at all the ingredients on the packages and the containers, the bottles, and I felt like there was absolutely nothing in the store that I could buy that was safe for my family. And this is when Young Living entered my life. My family had been talking to me about Young Living for years, and I just kept telling them that it wasn't for me. Then my sisters began gifting me products. I remember Rebecca actually gave me my first bottle of Thieves Cleaner. And since then, I have learned so much. Young Living makes things easy for us. And to be honest, I haven't found myself agonizing in a store aisle at all. And the best part is that I am not on this journey by myself. I have this beautiful community of people who help me along the way. So on that note, I'm going to turn things over to my friend Esther.
Well, thank you, Jen. Okay, so that's a picture of myself and Bruce, and it was taken, I think, probably shortly after we retired and moved to the small town of Gananoque. And I am actually Rebecca's mother-in-law, so it's actually quite an honor to be asked to join us here tonight. And so my journey with Young Living started when I got my starter kit And it was about the, I don't know, second year perhaps that we had moved to Gananoque. We've been here now 8 years. And so I really enjoyed the oils. I used them in the diffuser, and I was just really happy with them. Okay. And so, but then we started a bed and breakfast. And as you know, with a bed and breakfast, there's all kinds of cleaning. And so, I was doing floors and showers and tubs every day. And so, about halfway through that first season, it was getting so that when I was going to do a shower and I sprayed, and even if I didn't spray and I just put the cleaner on my cloth, it was like I could barely breathe. It was like, like it was like my lungs did not want to, breathe in the fumes from the cleaners anymore. And even if I sprayed it and left it, it was still there. And so, it was just beginning to really bother me. And, I was having, some sinus problems and so on. And so when I talked to Rebecca about it, I was telling her, and then she said, you might want to try the cleaners. And I said, oh, well, sure. I'll try them. And then, but as soon as I did, it made such a difference. And I could just, like swap them out. And so, it just became so much easier with the, getting rid of all those chemicals. And, I was not like Jen. I did not, use natural stuff. I just used whatever was on the shelves at the store. And but using them, like every day in large amounts, it was not good. And so now I can't even imagine using any of them in small amounts. So that's where I am. So I'll turn it over to you, Rebecca.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies, for sharing that. So, yes, I'm Rebecca, and my journey with Young Living started back in 2010. I got my very first starter kit. I'd never heard of using oils to help support your health and your bodies before, but when I got them, I was excited to start diffusing them and using them whenever we had, digestive issues or sleeping or energy, that kind of stuff. And I had the opportunity to visit a Young Living farm in 2017, and that changed my life. Like, I had been using the oils for years and got to see firsthand the farm, meet their scientists, see the distilling happen, and see how humble these farms really are. But what one of my biggest takeaways was, this girl had mentioned, she's like, oh my goodness, I just learned about the chemical free home and I had no idea. And I'm like, well, I have no idea. What are you even talking about? And so she gets into this topic, and I thought, whoa, like, I need to know more about this. And so we're actually going to dive into that topic that she told me about that night. And why is this important to me? I, like Jen, I've been healthy minded. I was making my own detergents, making my own cleaners, and it's just so messy. Some stuff worked, some stuff didn't. Sometimes it costs a lot. But one of the biggest things, I think, for me was getting to use the oils for supporting our health. Being naturally minded, I wasn't somebody who would be quick to grab an Advil or a Tylenol or the cough syrup. I was looking for natural solutions for our health. And I was tried many things, and just nothing really did what I wanted it to do. And so when I started learning how to use the oils and learning to get the toxins out, we actually saw a shift in our health, and things in our home just seemed to flow a little bit better than it did before. And so for me, this is really important because I want to support my health as best I can, and my kids as they're growing, and give them the best start that I can at life. And so I'm excited to share on this topic tonight. This journey just keeps getting better and better, and it's really been changing our lives. I am not the same person who got that starter kit, who got those toxin-free cleaners just years ago. It's just been a beautiful journey. And so we're going to dive in a little bit further here. Okay, so why is this topic so important? we live in a day and an age of research and information and access. We have access to so many different things. We have access to healthy foods. We have access to medicine and, just so many things. And yet, statistically, we see people getting sicker and sicker and sicker. I would think a day of information and supplements and health and wellness, that statistic should be going the other way. We should be doing better. But when we look around us, that's actually not the case. We actually see people getting sick younger and younger and younger. And that is concerning to me because, as I age, as my family is aging, that just catches my attention. I'm like, wait a minute, should I be doing something differently than I am to protect our bodies and to be as healthy as we can? And so this is an important topic because it affects all of us. Now, one thing we're going to talk about is the products that we use. And we can't control what happens outside of our homes, but we can control what happens inside of our homes and what products we bring in. And that's empowering. So toxins are on the rise. This is true. So there are more than 80,000 toxic chemicals that have been permitted for use by the United States and around the world. And what that means is they can put little chemicals and toxins in all of our products, from our hairspray to our shampoo, our body wash, our hand soap, our floor cleaner, our moisturizer, our sunscreen. Like, everything has little toxins hiding in it. And a lot of them have not actually even been tested for safety on humans. Actually, just a couple hundred of them have been tested, where there's thousands out there that have not. And the chemical industry is one of the largest industries in the world, $770 billion in annual sales. So that's a lot of toxins going into our products. And it's actually not even just our products. It's on the food we eat. It's in the water we drink. It's in the air that we breathe. We have to be really intentional to be dodging these toxins and pulling out as many as we can from our homes, because whether we are really aware of it or not, they are impacting our health.
Okay, so here is a term that some of you may have heard of and some of you may not. Body burden. Body burden is something that takes place when our bodies become overwhelmed with a variety of chemicals. Like, just look at this list, okay? This is just a very short list, actually, of the products that many of us use almost daily where toxins can be hiding. As I read through this list, just look at that average number of chemicals that are found in each one of these products. Perfume, a whopping 250. Shampoo, fake tan, deodorant, body lotion, hairspray, nail polish, eyeshadow, 26 just in eyeshadow on our eyes, blush, foundation, lipstick. It's a lot of chemicals in products that we use every single day. Now, you know what? Our bodies are actually designed to deal with toxins, but when they build up, they can cause this condition called body burden. If you have a pen handy, I would encourage you to write this down and take some time to do a little bit of research on your own to find out what body burden is exactly. It refers to the total amount of chemicals that are present in the human body at any given point in time. So as I mentioned, our bodies are capable of healing themselves, but when they become so overloaded and burdened with toxins, they just can't do what they were designed to do any longer. The toxins take over, make us sick. So let's take a look and see where these toxins are hiding.
So if you just have a quick look at these, then you'll notice, even by the colors and the shape of the bottles, that these are shampoos and cleaners and bleaches, all these things that we see every day and are in our cupboards, or they were in our cupboards up until a few months ago, but they're all there and we recognize them. But you know what? When I look at these, what surprised me the most was down in that lower right-hand corner, excuse me, the products for babies. Because you would think that products for babies would be absolutely pure. They would have no toxins in them, because we know a baby's skin is so thin, so fragile, everything just goes in. And yet, you see all those are body washes, lotions, all kinds of things, and they're on this whole picture of where toxins are hiding.
Yeah. So for us, in this journey, we have learned that, as Esther was saying, that no, we cannot assume that if it's on the shelf that it is safe and tested. Just to give a very brief background, like 40 years ago, there were acts passed that basically said that if a chemical does not have specific studies showing that it is dangerous, it will be considered safe. It is what is generally regarded as safe, GRAS, unless proven otherwise. And that's pretty much where we're at today. The chemicals found in these products, even in small amounts, do interfere with our health. And it's time to take, what a term Rebecca and I often use when we're talking is take a pause. And we want to encourage you to take a pause and do some research on your own, and not just assume that something's on the shelf, it's safe. I just the other day, I always print these off because I find it quite astonishing, to be honest. This is an article that I just found in the Smithsonian magazine. It just came up in the news that scientists find toxic forever chemicals. Those are ones that get into our bodies and are extremely difficult to remove. Our body actually has a hard time getting rid of those, found in more than 100 popular makeup products. So they just randomly tested, and it's some type of organic fluorine. I'm not a scientist, I don't know. But it says that this ingredient is found in cosmetics that are marketed as wear resistant, long lasting, and waterproof. So it just is like astonishing to me, because it's not actually very hard to find these articles. I have another one about cleaning products causing asthma in infants, but these products are still on the shelf. And to me, that's not okay. So please, I encourage you, take a minute, do some research, and look up the products, look up the ingredients, and find things out for yourself. It's really not that difficult to find evidence of these things that are actually harmful to our health. And to me, that's very, very concerning. Why on earth are these products, these ingredients, even allowed to be able to be used? Like Rebecca's going to get into it. Things that are like known carcinogens. Okay, Rebecca, I'll let you go.
No problem. But I love those articles, Jen. And it just blows my mind that you're right. They're in these products and they're not good for us. Okay, so one way that these toxins that get absorbed by our bodies affect our health is, and write this down, look this up, endocrine disrupting chemicals. This is a big deal because it affects our endocrine system, which is our hormones. And actually hormones is one of the top ways that our body systems communicate with each other. And so we want our hormones working. We want them doing what they were designed to do. And so these endocrine disrupting chemicals, they mimic, block, and interfere with the hormones in our body's endocrine system. And that's a big deal because our bodies communicate with hormones. And we all know how important our hormones are, especially as women, but also for men and children as well. But it affects so many different avenues of life. And we're going to get into that here. So this is the endocrine system. It is very complex. So we're just going to touch on it very briefly, but it includes many glands in our bodies and that control important functions. So here is a list. Feel free to take a picture if you'd like. the endocrine system controls so many things in our bodies, from hunger, fatigue, growth, adrenals, pain, childbirth, kidneys, pregnancy, pancreas, blood sugar levels, reproduction, digestion, energy. Like, I'm not going to read all those words, but it's pretty much every function in our body needs our hormones to be working properly. And what happens is our cells operate in a lock and key system. And so I kind of think about it as a Lego block. You know how it has a little top where you click another Lego into the place? Well, a cell has a little receptor site that other hormones, our hormones, click onto the cell. So for example, a cell will say, I need some estrogen, and our body will send estrogen. It'll click on the cell and it'll go off to do what it needs to do. But you know what? If we have endocrine disrupting chemicals in our body, that's going to click onto our cells, not the hormone that we need. And so it'll go off to do what it needs to do, and it can't, and it won't. And so it really does interfere with our body systems, and it affects so many different things in life. So we need to pull out as many toxins as we can that would be affecting our endocrine system in a negative way. And another thing to think about, so Jen showed us that graphic of how many ingredients are in perfume and eyeshadow and hairspray, all these things. So think about this. When you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you put on your deodorant, you maybe do your hair, wash your hair, condition. Think about all the ingredients in each one of those products. You put on your eyeshadow and then your mascara, you squirt on your perfume. We saw perfume can have 250 chemicals in there. Now, what they don't know is what are those chemicals and those ingredients doing when they mix in our bodies. So we know we're not supposed to mix bleach and ammonium, but what happens when we're mixing other ingredients from our products in our bodies? I think that's a really good question to be asking. And so this is a really good topic to do a little bit of research on, and we're going to give you a few tools to do that by the end of the class. And because it really does impact our health and how we're feeling.
So another big one is fragrance, and not just in perfume. Might be the first thing you think of, but honestly, fragrance is in everything, everything. When I first started learning about this issue, I watched a film called Stink, and I highly recommend finding it, watching it. It is on YouTube. I found it a little tricky to find, but it's in there. The term fragrance or parfum on cosmetic ingredient lists is pretty much a catch-all phrase for a complex mixture of dozens of chemicals. Some 3,000 different chemicals are used as synthetic fragrances. They do not have to tell us what those chemicals are because they're considered trade secrets. All they have to say on it is fragrance. And so there was this one time, shortly after I learned what fragrance was, I was walking through the mall and there was this kiosk that was selling natural skincare products, but I noticed on their list of ingredients, it said fragrance. And so I asked the person who was working there what that actually was, like what is the ingredient? And the person could not tell me what that was. They just kept saying, it's fragrance, I'm fragrant. And I was like, you have to be able to tell me better what that is, or I'm not buying this. Like, I don't know what that is. And so at that moment, I learned that just because something claims to be natural, it may not be free from toxic ingredients. Maybe it was, but I really have no way of knowing. So again, here's another one that I encourage you to look up, do some research, and find out for yourself what fragrance is and what it does to our bodies.
Now, you would think that because all this information is out there, that people have been researching this for quite a long time. And actually, this is a list that was brought about by the David Suzuki Foundation. And they looked at 12, this is 12 ingredients to avoid, as they are extremely healthy, harmful for your health. Okay, so as we kind of look down this, you'll see some of these you will recognize right away because, we've been looking at labels for quite a while. And you've got BHA and BHT. And look, there's the endocrinal disruptors, carcinogenic. You've got the different things they make dyes out of, also very harmful. You've got formaldehyde, which we've heard about for years as being so dangerous. You've got parabens, and some of the hand creams and so on, you'll see right on the front, you'll see parabens, are no longer used in this product. But if you look carefully in the list of ingredients, they have just renamed it a little bit different, but still parabens. Okay, and of course you've got perfume, aka fragrance, is right there on this Dirty Dozen list. You've got petroleum, which is we've seen it around, petroleum jelly. Oh, we've seen it as Vaseline, and I don't know who didn't have that in their house years ago. And so many, a sodium lauryl sulfate, very, very dangerous. And so, you would think that this list is out there. You would think that these companies would be just taking it out of their list when they're, coming up with recipes for new products. But no, you check it out and take out your phone right now, take a picture of this one because you can check it. These companies are still using these items in their list of ingredients.
So what are these toxins doing to us? We're going to go through a couple topics, but this one is the one that really grabbed my attention and kind of pricked my heart the most, is the infertility rates. So look at this graph here. In 1984, it was at 5.4%. By 1992, it bumped up to 8.5. In 2010, it was 15.7. So that's still 11 years ago. And I can imagine that if it continues at the rate it's going, that number is significantly higher today. And I think about my own kids, in the next 5 to 10 years, where's that number going to be? And this is a really tough one because it affects so many people, and it can be just such a hard journey, the journey of infertility. And for me, I want to pull out as many toxins as I can. I want to set my kids up for success. I don't want the decision to be made for them. If they want to have kids, awesome. I love it. If they don't, I want that to be their own decision. I don't want it to be a decision that's made for them, which is happening because we are using products that we don't even know are hurting us. I don't think we're taught to make that connection between what we're using and how our body's feeling. And we're going to jump into that a little bit further. But before we do, I'm going to touch on this one as well, because this is a really big one and a really hard topic. In the US, 1 in 8 women, this statistic will be diagnosed with breast cancer. And 40 years ago, it was 1 in 20. So we see that this statistic as well is on the rise. And we're seeing more cases with children. And it's just heartbreaking what is happening to families and how hard this journey can be for some people who don't know what they can do. So here's a little story. A friend of mine, I actually met her at that farm back in 2017, spring planting. She told her story about Young Living and why she even got started. Well, she had lost several people in her family to cancer. And so she went in for some genetic testing. Her mother did. They wanted to see if they were going in the same direction or if there was anything they could do. And one thing that the genetic specialist told her was that cancer is actually only 5 to 8% genetic. The rest, 92 to 95%, is environmental factors. So when we hear somebody say, oh, well, it runs in the family. Well, no, it doesn't have to run in the family. That's actually a very small percentage, very small number, 5 to 8%. The rest is something we can control and that we can make choices today that can help us be healthy further down the road. So that really stuck with me. Anyway, she just got so passionate about Young Living and the toxin-free living because she didn't want that for her and her family. And so yeah, I think that's an important number for people to know that it's not, it doesn't have to be their story. There is another way.
Yeah, that's good. And not all of the effects of these toxins on our bodies are as life altering as cancer and infertility. This here is a list of common issues that we have kind of learned to cope with. They've become so commonplace that we are led to believe that they're just a normal part of life. So, allergies, eczema, asthma, migraines, headaches, anxiety, dizziness, painful or irregular periods, constipation, heartburn, rashes, earaches, achy joints or back, and just general pain. What if these things aren't normal? What if they don't have to be? What if we have the power to improve our lives just by eliminating toxins? Personally, I think it's worth a shot. So I do want to just take a quick look at anxiety and depression. After all the things that we are learning here today about how toxins wreak havoc on our bodies, is it any wonder that these two things are at an all-time high today? What do they tell us depression is? A chemical imbalance. And so, what if it could be as simple as that? And please, I'm not saying that eliminating toxins is a cure for depression, but what if simply removing toxic chemicals from our everyday lives could make a significant difference? Just think about that. Like I was mentioning earlier, our bodies are so beautiful and complex, but we have to take care of them.
So when we think about all these chemicals and we think about all the ones that we have in our home and how we use them, we think that, okay, we are using these chemicals that were on that David Suzuki Dirty Dozen list, and we are wiping our counters with them. We're washing our floors with them. We are washing our dishes with them, which is so hard to think about now after we know all this, but they're everywhere. We're washing our bodies with them, our faces, our makeup, and everything. So when we look at that, and then we think, okay, so what can we do about all these chemicals? Okay, so then it's time. And everyone, like Jen and myself and Rebecca, we came to that place where it was like, wow, we need to ditch these and switch to something that is not going to harm us, that is going to do the cleaning, that is actually going to clean things and not leave a whole deposit of chemicals underneath, because we want things actually clean. And the same thing for our dishes, for our bodies, for our body wash, for everything. We want to ditch and switch. And that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit later, and how easy it is to get healthy products into your house. And so, and because we've been talking about these chemicals, we can look at this. Okay, and all these companies are saying, hey, we can make you some very good products. And so they have been listening to people complaining about chemicals, and they have put flowers on their containers. They have made them green. And this is actually called, it says beware of greenwashing. But if you go down that aisle in your grocery store and you look at these, you think, well, yes, these have to be good. Look at them. They're so nice. They're so bright. They're so spring-like. But yet, if you check the ingredients, you need to go back, check them again. And so it's the same chemicals. It's the same thing. Maybe they have dropped a couple, maybe they have renamed some of them, but it's basically the same. So they haven't helped us at all. They are after our money, and because there are companies, right? So we need to like vote with our dollars and say no, this is still not good enough. This is not what we're after. We're not after something in a pretty bottle that still has the same chemicals. We want to get rid of the chemicals, not with something in a pretty bottle that looks good but is just the same.
Absolutely. That was great. So I love this part. This is actually the Young Living mantra, okay? A healthy home for each of us, a healthy world for all of us. And one thing to touch on here is, we know these products that we're using, anything we put in our body or on our skin is absorbed right into our bloodstream, and then it circulates through our body, and it happens very quickly. So it really does matter what we're putting on our bodies. But Young Living comes along and they're like, you know what, let's do things differently. Let's change this direction of people's health and give them better options. And that's exactly what they have done.
Yeah, you know what? A quick, easy test to try that is take a clove of garlic, cut it open, and rub it on the bottom of your feet. And within about 20 minutes, your breath will smell like garlic. I love that example because it just shows how quickly and easily something that we put on our skin is in our bloodstream. And so it's not something to take lightly. So I'm going to talk just for a second about Young Living. Young Living is a world leader in essential oils. They first got started about 27 years ago, and it started as an essential oil company. And as I have been learning about this company, there is just so much heart in it. That slide Rebecca showed us before about a healthy home for each of us, a healthy world for all of us, that they take that very seriously. And I love that. But Young Living has since branched out. They sell so much more than just essential oils, although essential oils are in all of the products that they sell, from supplements to, anyway, I think I get into that in a minute. Young Living has over 600 products that are all toxin free. So they really do make things easy for us. As I shared earlier in my story, I'm just so relieved to have a company with products that I know that I can trust. It brings me amazing peace of mind. So there is so much possibility with Young Living. Gary Young, the founder, was quoted saying, "I don't make products for profit. I make products for purpose." And the more that I learn about this company, I believe that wholeheartedly. Young Living puts their seed to seal quality guarantee on all of their products, and they believe in giving back to their members. This is not a company that is on the market just to make money, which is awesome.
Do you do this one too, Jen?
Why don't I guess so. Sure, I'll run through this. So this is just a snapshot of all of the different products that Young Living carries. And so here at the top, you can see something called Seedlings. That is a line of baby care products. They sell supplements and this beautiful Ningxia Red beverage, which I am just completely hooked on. Natural health products, that would be their supplements. They have a whole line of cosmetics. I actually have a little fun surprise. I have made a video that I'm going to post tomorrow. Rebecca doesn't know. They sell products for in our home, like cleaning products, hand soap, all kinds of things, personal care products, supplements. Again, I guess I really like their supplements. I'm going to talk about them 3 times. And they have a wonderful financial opportunity as well, which is awesome.
Yep. And Gary Young, who was the founder of Young Living, so I'm going to read this quote. Somebody had said, Clint Walker had said, Gary is like a modern day Moses, leading people of the world from chemical bondage to the freedom of natural products and the discovery of essential oils. And think about what we've talked about with the toxins and how it affects our health and our bodies, and what that word bondage means. Like, we all know people who are on, once you start medications, they tend to just keep going and they add more to it. And before long, you can't really get off of them, and you can't make the changes you maybe want to make. And so that was the heart behind Young Living, was that he wanted to make those products for purpose and not for profit. And he wanted to give us an option for health and wellness, unlike anything that the world had ever seen. And I actually think Young Living is going to change healthcare as we know it, and lifestyles. They've got some really great options. So one thing I find for me is I don't shop at the drugstore anymore. I don't go to those aisles at Walmart or even in the grocery store. I get my groceries, I get my gas, and I get my Young Living order. Like, it has just simplified my shopping so much. And it's not that I'm spending more, I'm choosing where I'm spending. And Esther mentioned earlier about voting with our dollars. I don't want to be voting for those toxic products that are making people sick. I want to vote for healthy, clean products. I want to vote for products that are changing the world and changing lives. And that's where I want my dollars to go. And so that's what Young Living is to me. So we actually already spend a lot of our money on, sick care products. So like painkillers and cough syrups and fever reducers and pain creams, like those kinds of things. We spend a lot of money on that. And when we're spending our money on products in our homes that are making us sick, then we actually spend more money on our sick care products. It's just a vicious cycle. And you think about how much we spend on our cleaning products. Like, I know Jen has shown us some pictures of, how many products some people actually have under their sink. One for the windows, one for the fridge, one for the toilet, one for the sink, one for the floor, one for the leather, like all these different cleaners under the sink. And so I actually brought my Thieves household cleaner here. This is one bottle, and I clean everything in my house with this. I clean the inside of my vehicle. I clean my leather couch. I clean my floors. I clean the toilets. And it's so simple because I have my bottle and I fill it up to here with water. Then I just put one capful of my Thieves household cleaner in it and I'm good to go. And this bottle, it's maybe $30, but it lasts me, I don't know, 10 months maybe. Maybe I need to clean more, but that might be another topic. Anyway, it's not expensive and it replaces all the cleaners in my home. And so it's just something to ponder, okay? So Esther had mentioned, we wipe things down, but it leaves a chemical residue. And what is that doing to our bodies? It's actually making us spend more money on our sick care products. So you actually end up spending less when you use your oils and you use these cleaner products because you're not as sick as much. And I'll just touch on this really quick. A couple things that we've seen disappear in our home since going chemical free are seasonal respiratory disturbances. When the pollen is flying around the air. We've dealt with back pain. I can't tell you the last time somebody in our house was sick. Like, we've just eliminated so many things and health challenges that we used to have just from cleaning up our products. It was actually quite amazing. And this is kind of cool. I just read an article this last week where they tested someone's blood with the products they were regularly using. Then they pulled out all the toxic products, put in clean products, and in 3 days, those toxins were out of their blood. So our bodies are so fearfully and wonderfully made. They are always trying to pursue health, always trying to pursue balance. And when we can pull out these chemicals that are interfering, our bodies are actually free to heal. Our bodies are actually free to do what they were designed to do. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Okay, so when you get started with Young Living, I personally recommend start with the oils. Get that fragrance out of your house. the air fresheners, the Febreze, the wax plugins, the air fresheners. I actually noticed, you know, those Glade plugins or the Wick or something, I don't know. It actually said essential oils on the package. And I just laughed because no, I'm sure they don't actually have essential oils. It's probably like an essential oil flavor or fragrance. Anyway, Jen already touched on the dangers of fragrance. And that was actually one of the hardest things for me to get out of my house was my perfume. I loved my perfume. I was always spraying it on. I'd get a new bottle every year for Christmas. And so when I realized how harmful it was for me, that was actually the hardest thing for me to get rid of. But now I just use my oils. And what I hadn't realized was that the perfume, it actually ruined my sense of smell. I could not smell very well. And after I got rid of that and was using oils, I did get my sense of smell back, which is amazing. But the point is that Young Living has several entry points, whether you want to start with pulling out your toxic cleaners or the fragrance, you want to start diffusing oils, it's up to you. And it's best to decide, you know, where do you want to start? Then go with that. So when you decide you want to get started with Young Living, you become a wholesale member, which means you automatically get 24% off retail prices, which is amazing. So anyone who opens a wholesale account gets 24% off. Then you're welcome to join their monthly ordering program. It's like a monthly subscription. It's called Essential Rewards, and there are lots of perks and bonuses and fun things that come along with that. But that is designed to help us ditch and switch. Some people want to do it all at once, and that's amazing. And other people want to pick away at it, replace things as they run out, or decide what you use the most. Start with that. And so it's designed that you can just be getting a few new products every month and ditching some products every month. And they reward you as you do that. We also have an amazing community. We are doing classes together and continued learning. It's absolutely free to open an account, and there's no monthly minimum at all. It's actually just an annual minimum, and it's very small. So there's lots of reasons to become a wholesale member with Young Living. So if you choose to do the monthly ordering, it's called Essential Rewards, you can completely customize your order yourself. Whatever it is that you want to order, you can do that. You choose the date, you choose how it's shipped, where it's shipped, and depending on how much you order, you'll be getting freebies and gifts with your order, and loyalty gifts as well, which is pretty exciting. You get points back from what you order to spend on free products, which I love that. You also get cheaper shipping rates and access to certain product bundles that not everybody has access to. And so this is what I do. I do Essential Rewards. My family and I, we order supplements, personal care products, all the makeup stuff, the skincare line. Like there's just so many amazing options. And Jen had mentioned, you know, peace of mind comes with this. And I also feel like it's very empowering, because once you start to feel better, once you start to get these toxins out, it's a beautiful thing. And when you learn to use your oils to help support your health, like I don't feel afraid of what might happen to my family or what might happen if something hits the home. I don't feel vulnerable in my health. I actually feel empowered because I have lots of oils that I know can help me and my family. And that's a beautiful thing. And so there's peace of mind with that too. So I know this was a lot of information, and some of it can feel heavy. It can feel like, oh my goodness, like, what do I even do? But it's just one step at a time, one day at a time, and start where it's best for you to start. And reach out to whoever sent you this video. We are here to do this journey together, to walk together. You are not alone. And if you have any questions, reach out and ask. And thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, let us know. And I encourage you, do a little bit of research on this. Look up that David Suzuki Dirty Dozen list. Look up endocrine disrupting chemicals. Look up fragrance. Find that stink documentary and check it out, because there's lots of great information out there to learn and to take and to make some changes in our home. So again, thank you so much for watching. Jen and Esther, thank you for helping present the class tonight.
Thank you.
It was amazing.